Hello, welcome back to class. In this class, we're going to learn about what case study is. And I'll start it with a story. So, in 1848, a railway worker named Finance Gage survived a metal rod passing completely through his skull. The good news is he lived, but people who knew him said he was no longer himself. His personality had changed entirely. Someone who was once responsible and calm now was impulsive and erratic. So, you see, Gage's case changed how we understand the human brain forever. And not because of a study of 1,000, but because of the in-depth study of one person. So that is what a case study can do. Hi, I'm Viola. Welcome back to class if you're not new here, and welcome to my channel if you're new here. All right, let's go into today's class. So, what is a case study? A case study is an in-depth study of a single person, group, or event. It is designed to gain detailed knowledge about a particular psychological phenomenon. So, when is case study used? It is used most often in clinical psychology. Clinical psychology is a branch of psychology, okay, that we may talk about in later phases, but you can still go find out what it's all about. But it's a branch of psychology that studies psychological disorders, unusual cognitive patterns, and rare neurological conditions. Okay, so this is where case study is used most of the time. When it is used most of the time. It's also used in anthropology and sociology. All right. So what makes case study unique? What makes it different? What makes it distinctive is its depth. Okay, so where a survey schemes across hundreds of people, right? A case study burrows into one. It's an in-depth study of just one person, or maybe a particular group of people, right? So it's you know it's more of the, I don't know, like a deeper look into a single person. Meanwhile, for surveys, it might be something that skims through like hundreds and thousands of people, right? Okay, so a case study draws upon interviews, observations, medical records, and psychological tests. So it assembles a complete picture from multiple angles, all right, of that single group or that single individual or that single event. Okay, so all in all, a case study uses most of the methods that we use for research. It uses everything and then bring it together for depth, right? I hope you get me. Okay, so what again? So what makes it what is its role in science? its role in science is often as a catalyst, right? Case studies frequently inspire experimental research that follows most of the time. Okay, so it could be that one extraordinary individual reveals a possibility that larger studies then investigate systematically. So you've seen that a case study is more like a method that can lead to, most of the time, leads to larger experimental research. Okay, so you see, I gave an example in the beginning of the class about Phineas Gage. All right, so through the in-depth study of this individual, we were able to get knowledge about the human brain, right? Okay, so what are the strengths and limitations of case study? All right, even though it's a very great method, it has its strength and it has its limitations. Okay, so on the left you can see its strength. It is rich. It gives rich irreplaceable data. It gives you insight you cannot get anywhere else. Yes, with all the methods you can use, case study gives you a lot of insight, right? It also has the ability to challenge existing theories with a single counter example. Okay, and it also helps generate hypothesis or new hypothesis, right, for future experimental research. And I know you understand why this is its strength, because I've already said what it does. Okay, its limitation, which is on the right side, is you cannot generalize a particular knowledge from just one person. All right, so the researcher is at high risk of interpreting the data through their own bias, because now they are studying a group of people, they're studying one person, they might be biased, right? Okay, and also another limitation is that the subject, the person, the event, the group of persons that is being studied in depth may behave differently. Okay, so they may behave differently when being recorded, because they know that they are being watched. And naturally, any human being who knows they are being watched or they are being studied might not really act the way they would have acted if they were in their natural habitat, or if they were just in the natural environment. All right, so this is it. Also, there are no statistics, right? There are no statistics, okay, for most of its results. There are no effect sizes. All right, also, case study is time intensive. It takes so much time and so much resource, because you are studying a particular individual, a particular group, or an event across different timelines over and over again, just one person. All right, that time would have been used if maybe you were using another method, of course, but it depends on the researcher, the kind of method he or she wants to use. But for another method, the time that you would have used to have an in-depth study of one singular phenomenon, they would have used it to get thousands and thousands of studies. But of course, each method and their advantages and their disadvantages. Okay, so a case study proves what is possible in one case, but it does not prove what is typical across a population. All right, so this distinction must always be honored. Let's apply it to a real life example. Meet Abna. Abna is a clinical psychology intern placed at a hospital in Accra, and one of her patients, named Mr. Mensah, has survived a stroke. Wow. And his memory pattern is unusual. He can remember events from decades ago in extraordinary detail, okay, but he cannot form new memories. Okay, so Abna's supervisor begins a formal case study, right? She decides that, okay, this is the time to use a case study. I have to have an in-depth look into Mr. Mensah's case. This particular thing that is happening right now. She wants to look at it. So she does daily interviews, all right, systematic memory testing, behavioral observation, there, and then medical record review. The goal is to understand what is happening. That is it. Description first, and what it reveals about how memory works. So, Mr. Mensah case provides insight into memory storage, right, and retrieval that a standard group cannot capture. Okay, you cannot capture it in a standard group because now we are looking at a person in depthly from different angles, and then we use the information we have gotten from different angles and merge it into one big picture. So you can imagine the insights you're going to get about memory storage and retrieval from that. Okay, so the goal is so Mr. Mensah's case, of course, provides insight. Okay, and his condition is specific, it's rare, and it is potentially illuminating. All right, so this mirrors this example I have given to you to know how case studies actually work. Mirrors one of the most famous case studies in all of psychology, where Henry Molaison, whose hippocampus was surgically removed in 1953 to treat epilepsy. Okay, so he permanently lost the ability to form new memories. Okay, and his case study, published by Scoville and Milner in 1957, redefined neuroscience and established the hippocampus as essential to memory consolidation. Okay, so I'm just trying to let you know how the method case study, it can be very powerful and can be used to start a study that can bring a conclusion that is very, very important to human knowledge or human behavior. All right, okay. So Mr. Mensah's case, as we've talked about here, will not rewrite textbooks, but it will add to a body of knowledge that no other method can produce. So what's our key takeaway? Number one, a case study goes deep. It studies one person or event in extraordinary detail to reveal what numbers cannot. Number two, it is the most powerful for rare phenomena, for generating hypotheses, and for challenging theories with evidence from edge cases that large studies miss. Number three, its biggest limitation or its fundamental limitation is the findings cannot be generalized to wider population, right? One person is not a sample. Okay. So in our next class, we are going to talk about the third main method of descriptive research. I said it was descriptive research is on its own a research, and what makes it are the three main methods, which is naturalistic observation, case study, which we are talking about right now, and the next thing is survey. Alright, so in our next class we're going to talk about surveys. We're going to also talk about how we ask question at scale and why the quality of the question determines the quality of the answer. So I will see you in the next class. All right, bye.